Late, who thought we were going to miss the speech because it said that it was going to happen at 6:30, but in true DoES style, the speech is late as well. So anyway, thank you all for coming. It's awesome to see a load of people in a room. Like we're allowed to go in rooms again, so and it's a belated birthday celebration. Although I think we did in true DoES style. We celebrated our 10th anniversary by doing epic stuff. We made 30,000 visors to help with the COVID stuff at the start. Basically when we turned 10. So I think that's kind of the sort of way that we operate. But like it's been 10 years since. It doesn't been going more than 10 years now, but actually the origins are a bit further back. So I don't know how many people know the stories, but you're going to get it anyway, whether you know it or not. John can chime in with all the mistakes that I make. But I think the beginnings of what became DoES were kind of hatched in Barcamp, Liverpool back in December 2008. And then there were we got together, a bunch of us started meeting up to talk about these kind of hacking and Arduinos and laser cutters and all that kind of stuff. And mostly it was meeting in the pub. But the pubs aren't overly excited if you take a soldering iron in with you. Like Mellow was all right with that. We did that once. But then Mellow ceased to be, so we couldn't that anymore. And then kind of by January 2011, that's when Maker Night started. So the first Maker Night, or the first to begin with, Maker Night was once a month rather than once a week. And it was at the Art and Design Academy, just kind of over the way, in Liverpool John Moores University. And that mostly was let us get access to their laser cutters because we didn't have any kind of cool kit. But they did, so that was good. And it mostly let us work out whether we were gonna, because there was, I don't know how many of us at that point, but like half a dozen or a dozen or something like that, and we had no idea whether anybody would want a space you could do this sort of thing in all the time. So we were like, we should get to know, see if there's a community, build a community around it first. So that started in January. By kind of June, John and I and Paul Freeman Bennett, is he? He's Ron Bennett Freeman. I can't remember which one his double barrel is, but and Ross Jones and Hakeem Kasamali. Was it just it? Yeah, we were sharing an office on Duke Street, and we got kicked out of our office on Duke Street. Wasn't anything to do with us, honest. And then we were like, okay, well we could go and find another office to share, or we could kind of take the jump and actually set up this thing that we've been slowly trying to work out whether we should get and build, that is DoES Liverpool. And so there was a kind of frantic month where we registered a company, and so DoES Liverpool CIC was incorporated in June 2011. And then we went and found somewhere to actually operate out of, and wound up with just over 1,000 square foot space in Gostin's building on Hanover Street. And to begin with, it was, we'd cobbled together a few tables and desks for the office that we were in beforehand, so we took them with us. And I'm pretty sure we had some garden chairs.
I think they were in the space that we moved into.
Yeah. So in true style, we inherited some stuff that some other people have left behind. And then, I brought in our entire makerspace here. So we had our first 3D printer, the Cupcake, which we'd assembled ourselves at Maker Nights, and a soldering iron. And that was it. That was one table had those two things on it, and that made us a makerspace. Because back in 2011, that did make you a makerspace, and kind of started from there. So January 2012, well, sort of December 2011, January 2012, we got Sophia, the first laser cutter, which then made us a bit more, but we lost our meeting room at that point because suddenly there was a laser cutter in it. And then kind of that summer of 2012, we expanded and took the room next door, which became our dedicated workshop. Which then meant we could move the laser cutter in there, expand all the kind of making stuff. I'm sure some of you will have spent far too long, like we have in the workshop in Gostins. A year after that, we took on another room in Gostins, which was then our dedicated events room, because before then, the main office was where all the events happened, so like, I suppose like the main room through there in a way that Make Night does these days as well still, but yeah, you couldn't do it. We did talks with slides and stuff, you know, just in the main room with loads of desks with all my stuff over them and other people's as well, but mine was still probably the messiest desk then. And in June 2014, we hired our first member of staff. We got Sean, who remains our only member of staff. So it says June 2014 on your contract. I was looking at it.
Works for me.
So I assume it's right. And then by 2017, we were starting to look. We'd run out of space in Gostins. There weren't any rooms to take on to expand more over that floor because it had filled up with other interesting yoga studios and a pole dancing studio and all sorts of interesting, crazy stuff. And so we were starting to look for somewhere else to move to. It took us a while to find a new venue, but in March 2018, we moved in here, and everyone did loads and loads of work. So we built up a bit of a nest egg, but the community just did so much work, you know, scrubbing the floors, varnishing them. Mike and a couple of helpers just ran like 100 network cables, is it, I think, through under the floor. So much effort and it's, you know, made this awesome space that we have today. And that's the kind of key bit, is that, you know, I've been talking about space and bits of kit and things like that, and I suppose along the way we accumulated all of the stuff that you see through there, and in here. So we have many laser cutters and all sorts of.
We still have a laser cutter in the meeting room.
We do. It's the DoES way, John. This meeting room's a bit bigger than that.
It is, yeah. It hasn't taken it over.
The laser cutter is also a bit bigger.
That one isn't.
That one's about similar sort of size, but yeah, it's floor standing, I guess, yeah. And we have got much bigger laser cutters. And yeah, like I've been talking about space and kit and stuff, and DoES actually is, you know, it's all about the people who make the community. You know, we always joke, despite its name, DoES doesn't do anything. Like, you all do things. Like, we all do things. We are what makes the difference in all this sort of stuff. And, you know, we're also do epic shit, not count epic shit. So, like, I could have gone and worked out, like, how many days the laser cutters have been booked and how many people have visited and all that sort of stuff, but that's what people who have funding need to do. And because we've always been paid for by the community, for the community, that's a luxury that we have that we don't need to. And it always feels to me like it's more important to talk about, like, you give examples of stuff, otherwise it's just a load of numbers. And like, it's not about the numbers, it's about all the individuals. So I guess, you know, DoES wouldn't be anything without my fellow directors. So John and Jackie and Caroline are here now. Laura, just, you know, some sort of like having a new baby thing means that she can't come. It's disgraceful. So couldn't make it. And previous ones, Paul, Bennett Freeman, and James Sparrow. Is that?
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ross and Hakeem never were directors.
No. Yeah. you know, everybody who helps run and organise the space, all the organisers, the people who kind of look after things, you know, Mike and Sean who took loads of work in on the laser cutters, Rose who looks after the knitting machines, and with all of these things, I'm going to miss, like that, this is the problem, there's too many people to thank for all this stuff, so I'm not going to thank all of you. Well, I am. Thank you all. There you go, I've thanked all of you now. Now I'm just going to give examples. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joss. Happy birthday to you.
Well, here's a jolly good workspace. Here's a jolly good workspace. And so this is all.
And thank you to Caroline for making the cake.
Too much cake.
There might have been subtle help in making it.